Living Heritage is designed to highlight, examine, and celebrate elements of the rich cultural heritage of St. Kitts and Nevis. Journey with us as we explore our distinct and immersive culture. Welcome to a life of pride in our past and confidence in our present and future. Welcome to Living Heritage. Today on Living Heritage, our ICH mini-documentary series of St. Kitts and Nevis, we delve into the history of sweet, sweet Steelpan music and trace its humble beginnings in Trinidad to its revered place in the hearts of music lovers worldwide, including revelers in St. Kitts and Nevis. This falls in the ICH domain of the performing arts. Proclaimed as the only instrument to be created in the 20th century, the pan has transitioned over the years, adapting to include more pans and more notes, and crossing the Caribbean seas in order to secure its place on the international music scene. Today, we speak to a traditional knowledge bearer who aided the Steelpan in its passage to the ears of an international audience, even before online and digital tools were in place. Our TKB today is Emile Buck Edmead. Tune your ears as he takes us on a musical sojourn.
My name, Emile, E-M-I-L-E, Emmanuel Edmead. E-D-M-E-A without the E to the end, you know. The date first, 16th September 1938. That made me 86, heading for 87, 86 and a half. Put it that way. When I went to get traveling to get a passport, and I went to the health center to get a birth paper, they couldn't find Joseph Buchanan there. But my aunt told me, my aunt raised me. I wasn't raised with my mother, I was raised with my aunt. And she told me, no, your mother's name is Edmead. And your name is Emile. I said, well, why you all did that? Send me to school as Joseph Buchanan, and my name is Emile Edmead. And I never know anything about Emile all the time. So she told me that when I was born, my mother named me Emile Edmead, Emile, because my father was nowhere around. So I had to carry her title as Edmead. And it's so funny that when she said, they said I wasn't keeping too well when I was a kid. So they decided to change my name and give me a biblical name as Joseph. And they told me more about it. But she never go and register it. I mean, she said she already put in Emile Edmead, and actually, she just didn't go and change it. And she left it as Emile. And then they keep on calling me Joseph. And at the time, I was just about what? When I learned the music there in boys' school, I was just about 11 years old. Miss Shepherd was my teacher. And she was a good pianist. She had a daughter called Lorna Shepherd. And she was, Miss Shepherd was a no-nonsense teacher, a very good music teacher. And I learned from her. Not by ear. I was doing from tonic solfa, from the do-re-mi pattern, do-re-mi fa sol. Yeah, well, that is how I decided to play the instrument, because I said, well, this is music. And then I just find a scale and go from scale to scale. So, you know, I know there are people that play by ear, but not me. I play by the tonic solfa music at age between 13 and 14. And I was about to be 14, moving from 13, going to be almost in June, because my birthday is in September. So my 13th birthday had already gone, so I got to say 14. Yes, sir. And it was in a band called Sons of the Pioneers. It was ran by Godwin Ward. Godwin Ward was my mentor. He was in charge of the band Sons of the Pioneers, and I was living in the yard right there, living right in his house. So it was easy for me to just take up a pen and practice. And so I went along and did it. And yeah. Oh, the single tenor. I was a boss on the single tenor. But when I was going to Africa, I was in South Carolina. And a guy came there with a pair of, my pan had shot. And I needed a pan to really play. And the guy had the double tenors. And I went on them and just feel them out. I become interested in the double tenors, more than the single tenor, really. But I'm good at both of them, so. I'll tell you, you can get a small group with 4 pieces, because that's what I play on cruise ship with, just 4 pieces. Well, an orchestra like it's called Boston Tigers Steel Orchestra, as a pen. You have the tenor pans, you have these double tenors, and back then, they knew you carry a lot of doubles. Every pen was single. So you have the tenor, you used to call them a fundu pan. But I learned afterward that, the name fundu pan came from a guy from Antigua called, his name was Fundu. And the pan he played, they said that was fundu pan. And then they so called the pan fundu pan. And so in my days, that's how we know it. But now, most of the pans know that the group now are doubles. You have double seconds, double guitars, double tenors. Then you have double guitar pan, you have the tenor bass. That's when you're going to form a big band now, a big group, tenor bass. Then you have the 6 drum bass. Now, there's a guy called Ralph Gums. I don't know if you know Ralph Gums. He got a business right on Caron Street. He played in Boston Tigers, so bass player. 6 drum bass. So you see him rolling all behind his back. It's fun. It was a lot of fun. But I was single tenor all the time, up front. The leader carried the melody. And these other pans, like double seconds, they harmonize, double guitar pans, and they harmonize. Through the years, they have changed the pan up a lot. Because for the single tenor, it is Trinidad. Pan was organized in Trinidad first. And then they changed the pattern of the single tenor and standardized it. Because there once upon a time, when I learned to play pan, everybody had a different style of the single tenor. But not is one style. So if you can play one, you should be able to play all. The notes are even smaller. The single tenor pan, the notes are smaller, and you got to be precise in getting what you want over them and everything. So, and there are more notes on the single tenor than we carry 30 notes on the single tenor, and on the double tenors, they carry what? They got 2.5 octaves. And the notes are larger on the double pans. The notes are larger for to get a lower pitch, and for the smaller the note is the higher the pitch. The larger notes, the lower. It has to be wrapped with rubber. It has to be rubber. It couldn't be a rough stick, just a plain stick. You're going to hit it tin. Ding, 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 ding. You're not going to get what you want out of it. And it has to be rubber on the edge of the stick to bring out the sound. Because we used to play stick with rubber wrapped around the edge. I have some of them there. But then afterward, they got this piece of a rubber thing that on the double tenors, you must push it on. And that's better. You have to be, because when you play your stick, there's something that busts. I remember Boston Tigers coming up by the circus and S going across, and we used to clash and put out your best. And just when we clashing with S1, my stick burst. I felt, Lord of mercy. So I had to quickly can start like you again. You say, can come a long way. Bass drums would be a ball, like a sponge ball. Bore a hole in it and we put it on the stick. And that's where you get because the bass only carry 4 notes each. And lately, when boots they make 3 to get the depth. Because if the note is too small, you cannot get it go low. So like I said, the larger the note is the deeper sound you get. So that's where the bass comes in. And nowadays it don't even carry the 6-drum bass hardly anymore. But I noticed the Carnival gone, there are a lot of bass drums because I was at the Panorama and I noticed doing good with the bass drums. But when we play on cruise ships and all of those, we carry a bass guitar. Because you can travel with the 6-drum bass up and down on the ship, you know. Everything was pan on the neck. No, it was fun. We used to do pan for fun. Just for the love of the pan. Because pan was just starting. Came down from Trinidad and to Antigua and then to here. So we was happy to be a part of the pan. And like you mentioned before, it was the only instrument that came about in the 20th century. Esso is an oil company, if you know that, Esso Oil. At one time, the guy down in Trafalgar had a band named Shell Regent. That's an oil thing again, Ellis Cranston, where he has passed through. The Boston Tigers. There was just, I asked Bell how they come about the name. He don't even know. He said it's just somebody just called the Boston Tigers, and that was that. So it was my sponsorship to Boston Tigers. But, you know, they had a band right up there in Monkey Hill. Triangle, they had a triangle, I think something to do with milk. Carnation, yeah, So there was some sponsorship going on and some not. Sons of the Pioneers was from the movie, Roy Waters and Gene Autry and thing, and they just called it Sons of the Pioneers. All the bands had uniform. For instance, the band that I learned to play in Sons of the Pioneers, they carried red and green. The Boston Tigers was red and blue. Invaders from Newtown, they were black and green. Casablanca was red and silver, or red and white, what do you want, yeah? Different colors. Esso, what Esso color? Esso colors of blue and orange. Boston Tigers used to carry, let's say about 18 fully, you know, but come Christmas time, some other people come in. Around Carnival time, Christmas time, it will be about 20-something, 26 or so. Extra guys come on in and just for the Christmas time, you know, strengthen the band. And after Christmas, go back to the normal, 18 guys.
We'll be right back with more about the pan from TKB, Emile Buck Edmead, after these ads.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to the St. Kitts Craft House. This is where life begins. And what we create will leave you speechless. We train, we create, we promote, and we maintain the highest standards. Experience life for yourself. The premier craft and production facility in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Living Heritage continues as TKB Emile Buck Edmead explains how pan came to St. Kitts.
It came to St. Kitts from Antigua. It went to Antigua first. And there was a band called the Hell's Gate from Antigua. Now Antigua had two main bands, was Hell's Gate and Brute Force. And Hell's Gate came down here. And I don't know if you heard about the Bimston Hill accident that they had there. And they were playing up there. And I think in 1949, I think it was, when they came down here. And Kittitians quickly jumped onto it. And before you know it, every parish around St. Kitts had a band. And now I come back here I'm living back here now, and I notice hardly any bands around. Steel band. Because the horns took over, the brass took over and everything, and Edmead and the J Brass and all of them, So, Grand Dash Tour and all the bands that they just pushed pan aside. For the reason how it happened, I don't know, because I wasn't living here. I was living in Florida. Like I said, there was no money was making on pan. Because really, at the end of the year, when Boston took, one time they came about, I think some band in the gut decided they want the money when they get paid. They said the first lamp was in the night, share the money. Don't put up the money, just share it. And next to nothing. Because, wasn't a lot of money flourishing those days. What happened, they asked me was to come in at the bottling company. They had a band there that the guys couldn't really play good, so I was known to be, a good player always. I didn't know how good I was, but then people telling me, oh, you're the best. So I went over and took over the band. At the same time I was playing with Val Norris. Had a band called Boston Tigers, if you ever heard of it. And I was the tenor man for Boston Tigers. So I asked Val, I said, hey, you got a contract? He said, go ahead and come back to my band. I said, okay, fine. But Basil Henderson he was sponsoring a band. He was in charge of sending band to St. Thomas. Because the Carnival Committee, I think, we contacted him. So I contacted him and said, hey, what happened? You have? He said, yeah, you're good. And so I just went along. And I liked St. Thomas when I went the first time in 1960. When I was in Jana, without any engine. The Ploversy had an engine in it, yes. And came back up and went back to work. The following year, they called me again to come back. I said, okay, and I took it on again. That was 1961 now, because from 1960, the first time, second time was 1961. And came back to work. Went back to work at the power plant. In St. Thomas, that is what inspired me, to make it a livelihood for me. Because when I realized that I make more money playing pan than what I make on a regular job, 8 hours job, and I only play pan for 2.5 hours nightly. And every day I had to work 8 hours a day. And the money nightly was better than the money daily. So I said, and then I worked in a hotel that had to stay every night, sometimes 7 nights a week. And paid us good. When I say good at the time. My son's name is Glenn Roy, and the other one is Van Cito. Edmead, Edmead. They were born in St. Thomas. We moved from St. Thomas to Florida. Took them with me, with their mother and everything. And from there, I took them on cruise ships and all over, and The name of the band was the Panjamas. Panjamas. I played at a hotel there for 11 years, steady, every night. Every night in St. Thomas, called the Caribbean Beach Hotel. It was run by Mr. Dowling, Bill Dowling. And I was the tenor man there and everything. So that's where the bands in St. Thomas started, came about. And then before you know it, all the high school band had a teacher teaching band and everything like that. Right now, to me, St. Thomas have more bands than St. Kitts. Steelpan. Yeah. Even in Florida, when I get up to Florida, I made it, as carry it as a livelihood then. Because, nothing else. And they have some people called the agent, the booking agent, get to understand what's going on. And they make a killing out of us. Money. They are, what you call it? They will get jobs and send us on the job. And we gone driving from Florida is big. Sometimes I drive to Texas from Florida to South Carolina. And then you can, when they're gonna pay? They don't pay you, the leader of the band. They pay to the agent, and the agent pay you how much they want. So they exploited us a whole lot, yeah. And that's one reason I left it too, and come back because no, I can't carry on this exploitation at night. You home, and I out there on the road all hours of night. If I get a flat, I gotta fix it, and no money until, and then when the agent get paid, they have your money, and they keep it for about a month before they pay you. So they take money and making interest in the bank of the amount, and then when they don't pay you no interest, they just pay you flat. So, you know, but we enjoy all of that. I came back here and got a job that Boots was doing when he was here at the Virtues High School. And I had an experience with that. In the very first class I had the very first morning. I did it for 4 years. But the very first morning I started, I had it. They used to call them, where we go by a farm. St. Thomas's grade high school, but he's a farm. First farm. Just what, 13 years old? That well. From the other school before the race called primary. And he came up to me and said, "Good morning." I said, "Good morning." He says, "Oh, could I ask you a question?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Where you from? Trinidad?" I said, "No." He said, "Guyana?" I said, "No." Well, when I was young, I had very nice curly hair, you know, and everybody used to be fascinated with my hair. You know, they come right me like them. But then he said, so he asked, I said, well, maybe look at my hair and want to know if I'm from Trinidad or Guyana. Those are the only two names he called. He didn't even ask me if I'm from Antigua. I said, no. He said, so where you from then? I said, from right here in St. Kitts like you. He said, from St. Kitts? I said, yeah. He said, so where you learn to play pen? Then you could come teach RE. Use your word RE, you know. He said, well, you could come and teach RE where you learn to play. I said, right here in St. Kitts, I learn pen. He looked at me, stupid teeth, and he walked off. She was confused. But Melly Hewlett, he did a very good job here, hanging in with the pan and everything. You know Boots, Earl Jones. I think there's a band called EBJ, or Earl Boots Jones. He has passed away. And when he passed, well, I know him very good because we playing on cruise ship together and everything. And I came back home and went and applied for a job, the job that he was doing in Virtues High School. So I got employed there, and I did it for 4 years, teacher at Virtues High School. I know him. He go back and forth. He come to Florida. He make time for me too. Because when he passed, I had just paid him money, $600 US, to make me pay double tenors, and left and went back to Florida. But he was mentioning it to Cortland Carter. He has the shop down in Trafalgar, and his wife heard me. He mentioning that I just paid Boots $600 US, and he said he's gonna make me pens, and he's gonna mail them to me. And when I left, I paid him that money about on Friday, and I left and went back to Florida the Sunday. Left him with making the pans. But he showed me the pans that they are in process of making, but they're not finished, not completed. So when they finish, you will have mailed them to me. I say, okay. They're already marked out, cut off and everything, but not tuned. And when I walk in the house in Florida, went back up the Sunday, like I said, the Monday morning, I got a telephone call. Carter's wife saying, I heard you was telling Cortland that you give Boots money to make a pan. I say, yeah. She said, well, Boots dead, you know. Boots gone. So I just booked a passage and came back to St. Kitts. Because I know I'm not going to give me money back. Money is a very funny thing, too, yeah. But I came back and got my pans because he had showed me that they were ready. So the guy buy one of those Byron boys, I think must be. I think those pans, they are the Byrons, I mean, they are the ones who run in EBJ band. And I came back and he knew me because he saw me with Boots. And he gave me my pans and I went home and tuned them myself. I get something for my money and get me pans. I mean, he didn't complete it, but I got me pans back. I could make them too, I could make my pans, but it's a lot of work sinking them, getting them down and everything. So he was a better man making pans, but I'm the better teacher. I'm a very, what do you call it? Fragile. Put it that way. If they fall on the ground and hit, it knows to go out of tune. If they handle them wrongfully, they hit them with any heavy object like a hammer, out of tune. And you better go tune it back or get somebody to tune it. That's where Boots came in here from Trinidad. And now that Boots is gone, I don't know who's Steelpan on here anymore. And Melly was trying to before, but Melly himself had gone too. So I came back here and I am keeping a low profile. And I'm up in age. I'm 86, going making in 87, heading for 90. If you want to put it there, heading for 100. But I mean, you know, I'm feeling okay. Yeah, but pan is very expensive now. We have them in Switzerland and them places now because, to me, they have a place called a pan yard. I think it's in Switzerland. I'm not sure it's from. But you go there to buy a pan, and it costs me over $2,000. Yeah. So, the guy from Trinidad called Edmead, he was one of the founders of making pan in Trinidad when pan started. I mean, he's an older fella than me. I don't know if he's alive still or what, I don't know. But he taught the white guys how to make the pans. And they took over, and they wanted to take the pan making skill away from Trinidad. So I was singing a song, and I have it on cassette tape. He says, Steelpan man, Mr. Politician, when you're going to write the history of pan, you're taking Steelpan for granted, thinking it's always going to be around. But when and how it all started, you make no mention, documentation can be found. You know, and I love the song. Yeah. I'm feeling happy that I was able to really teach at Edmead Virtual High School to really pass the knowledge of pan on to younger people. Because, hey, I'm on the way out. And to see, and I just like to see pan on the road. I just like to see pan because it's the only instrument that came out in the 20th century. And it was created by a black man, not a white man. So I feel very good about it.
Thank you for viewing. I am sure you received an education in pan in St. Kitts. Today, we enjoy a steel band culture that is based on competition. Panorama, of course. We look forward to seeing more steel bands coming out of our schools, demonstrating the continuity that is necessary in order to safeguard this element in the performing arts ICH domain. We will keep you posted. In the meantime, keep up to date with our activities by checking us out at Facebook at SKN_ICH, Instagram at Cultural Heritage SKN, all one word, and on YouTube at St. Kitts Culture, all one word. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Join us again next week at the same time on Creativity St. Kitts Cable Channel number 4 for the Cook-Up and our previously mentioned social media. Until next time, remember, together we can safeguard our living heritage.